you are a youth bowler, please let us know so you can fill out a waiver form. A reminder that all slow absorbing high performance bowling balls of any hardness are not allowed in this event. Don't forget, seniors 55 and over and ladies get 8 pins handicap per game. It will be on your recaps. We believe we've got everybody this morning, but if we missed anybody, please let us know right away so we can get that changed for the standings. We do have spots left this afternoon at 1 o'clock if another re-entry is necessary. And we have one prior champion bowling on this squad once again. I believe on 13 and 14, Dallas Leon is with us from last year. All right, guys, we're going to turn the lanes on, guys and ladies, sorry, we're going to turn the lanes on for 10 minutes of practice. Good luck this morning. Oh, sorry, guys, we are still rolling lanes together, so hang with us. When the lanes come on, it'll be for practice. Thank you.
Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 2026 New Mexico Open E-Squad qualifying coming up here. When the crew here walked the back ends of the lanes, noticed that there could have been a potential issue on a few of the higher end lanes. So that's why you always walk the lanes. You double check what has taken place out on the lanes. And they noticed something that didn't look normal. So they wanted to rerun even a few more lanes than what they thought, where there could have been a potential issue with the lane pattern being put down properly. So that's why there's a little bit of delay here in the action. But we got plenty of time before our 1 o'clock squad here today, with just 3 on a pair. This squad should take about 2 hours. Practice is going to start here in just a few minutes. Just wanted to pop on and let you know kind of what was going on before we get started with practice here from the 2026 New Mexico Open. Mike Flanagan here with you. I'll be here to bring you all the action, 6 games of qualifying coming up for you right here on Inside Bowling on YouTube. Thanks for hanging with us.
All right, boys, appreciate your patience. We're going to get your lights on for practice. correct. And once that countdown concludes, you will be in your tournament play of 6 games. You need to reset those pins. Just hit the white button on the bar return. It does not trigger scoring. You need to re-rack. Just hit that white button. It does not trigger scoring. Alrighty, your lights are on, arrows up, and in your tournament play. Good luck, nice scoring.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome officially into the 2026 New Mexico Open E-Squad qualifying. We had A, B, C, and D over the last 2 days with squads at 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. each day. This is our 8 a.m. squad. Getting started about 8:23 here this morning, General Mountain Time Zone, and we're glad you're with us on this Saturday. Thanks for being here. Defending champion Dallas Leong is going to start things off here on lanes 13 and 14. He's bowling with Quentin Bell, Kyle Duster, Ryan Howard, Kevin Jones, Jasmine Jones just off to the right. We do have lane talk stats here for your live scoring, and I will post that link in the chat room here. That is now posted for you to be able to enjoy throughout the day. It's always nice to be able to see all the names out there and how everybody's bowling. We've got a nice squad here this morning. We've got 22 bowlers. I see Will Davis, Carson Opella, Tyler Lyons, Andrew Hughes, Quentin Bell, Dallas Leong, this group here. Daniel Hong came by this morning, very nice guy from California coming into bowl. Pat Bottom, we got Antonio Correa, Jasmine Jones, Derek Phillips, David McKay, Jacob White, Jacob Gill is back again, Trey Brand. So we got a nice group of bowlers out here today. This New Mexico Open has been very, very tricky with the scoring pace here. And let's go ahead and take a look at the standings here. They just disappeared on me. Ah, there they are. Go ahead and also bring in some other players here, bottom right of your screen. So right now, this was yesterday's squad. JD Nance with 12-11 yesterday. This was the late squad yesterday. This was the highest scoring squad. I actually want to get you the main standings here. Let me grab those. I'm going to take that out for just a second. All right, I got that for you now. Slide that in here. So there you see Austin Grammer, your leader. He bowled the first squad and bowled every game over 200. I mean, that was unbelievable what he did out there on the lanes. And then JD Nance was, as I showed, high yesterday on the D squad. Klimpkin led B squad on Thursday. And 48 pins of handicap goes to the players that are 55 and older, or if you're a female bowler, you get 8 pins per game. That's why you see the 48 pins there. So three folks have bowled 1,200 or more. Then you got Cameron Henning at 1194, Gabe Alvarez at 11. Cameron Henning at 1197, 1194 for Alvarez. Brandon Knowles at 1193. Charles Bostic at 1180. Scott Ashley at 1155. Stu Williams at 1153. All those scores should be good. We're going to be cutting to the top 24 here. We're going to take the top 24 to Sunday morning, which is tomorrow. And the top 8 will receive buys. So it'll be 6 games in the morning for 9 through 24. And then 8 will move on from there, and then we'll bowl with the 8 from the buys at 10:45 in the morning. And then we'll cut to the top 4 for a step ladder at 1 o'clock. So let's just go ahead and take a look at these standings overall here as we look. So right now, 24th position is 1060. That's 140 under for 6 games. That's 24th place right now. And there are some duplicates in there as well. So like Scott Wiley's in there. I believe Scott Wiley's in there twice, is he? Or maybe not. No, there are no duplicates. They removed the duplicates. That's my bad. I thought I saw him in there twice. But here are all your entries right here. So far 115 entries in this year's event. As we scroll down, you can see how everybody has done. We were at 93 entries through D Squad. So 73 unique bowlers. The duplicates have been removed from this standings that I have right here. 73 unique bowlers here at this year's event. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and also pop up our lane pattern. This has been the story of the tournament here. 47 feet in length, 35 milliliters of oil, 1.89 to 1 ratio, 46 feet in length. On the drop rush, which is just a short drop rush. If you notice the load data on number 9 on the forward pass, that is 10 feet of oil gutter to gutter from 22 to 32 feet. And then it stays on that brush and goes all the way to 47. And the heads want to hook a little bit early because if you look at the reverse load data, it stops oiling at 15 feet. 15 feet, no more oil is applied to the brush. So the fronts want to hook, and down lane, the ball doesn't want to recover too well, so that's what makes the score so low. Here at the New Mexico Open, we'd like to thank our tournament staff, our special guest, Brunswick product specialist Rick Barbera, along with our tournament director Dennis Hacker, who's also the USBC president, and Mike Flanagan over there working the table with those guys, the proprietor here of the bowl. I mentioned that Dallas Leong was our champion last year. He's on the squad. Also want to thank our sponsors, Brunswick, Shamrock Foods, Visit Rio Rancho. Check out visit riorancho.com to find out about all the great things happening here in Rio Rancho, New Mexico. Also want to thank our friends at Kegel and the Bowling Center for providing the lineage here this weekend and not charging the bowlers for that, and all of us here at Inside Bowling as well. If you'd like to support what we do at Inside Bowling, we do a weekly special. Those of you that have been around for a while here, you guys know about this. And this week it happens to be quarter zips. Quarter zips are $37 each. It's a Champ Pro product. We really are proud of these. And you can pick them up for $37 here this week on Inside Bowling if you'd like to support us through heading over to our merch shop and picking up some cool items. All right, we'll move back over here to lanes 13 through 16. Quentin Bell starts double, 9 spare. Strike. Kyle Duster, strike, spare, double. Good to see Kyle in the field. Uh-oh. We got a man down over there. I don't know what happened there. Hope he's okay. It looks okay. Dallas Leong has started 7 spare, open 9 spare. Ryan Howard with strike, a couple of spares and a strike. Kevin Jones, spare, triple. Jasmine Jones, a little mixed bag there. 1 strike, 1 open, and a couple of spares. Here is Dallas now, looking for his first strike of the game. Dallas has the high game in the tournament. He bowled 259 yesterday. Bowled 259 his last game. There's also been a 257 game in the tournament. And I believe we had one other 250 game. Maybe not, just 2 250s, 257 and 259, and a handful of 240 games. The thing I said yesterday is when you think about the scoring pace of this tournament, you really should look at the scores that are bowled and just add 50 pins. So like we've got 2 250 games. So normally in a house shot tournament, you'd have 2 300 games by now with a solid field like this. So it's kind of an easy way to do it. 40 to 50 pins difference here. So, you know, if you bowl 220 on a house shot, if you bowl 180 here, that's very equivalent. If you bowl 190 here, that's equivalent to about 230. hard to get in the mindset, though, that, you know, if you bowl 170, you're still okay. That's like bowling 210 or 220 on a house shot. So when you throw 4 strikes in a row like Kevin Jones just did, you're feeling like King Kong. Pretty good scores here this morning to get started in game number 1. Kevin Jones doing a good job of controlling the pocket, making spares or leaving spares that he can make. Looks like bowlers are having a little bit of issues with the approaches here this morning. Oh, thought we were going to maybe. I agree. I'm with you there, Ryan. I thought you were going to make that. Kyle Duster, good player. He's got a regular job. That's why we haven't seen him the first couple of days of bowling. But ready to go today. Striking quite a bit, 5 for 7. Quentin Bell can still max at 279. Another good one right there. Hey, Trevor, I did go for a rip last night. I actually went and checked out a Stranger Things filming location, the roller rink in season 4. Yeah, bowlers are allowed to re-enter. I like this comment here. The scores are higher at the Peterson. Yeah. Look at these. Look at these pairs, though. Not having any problems. Dallas is just like setting it down on like 3. There's really kind of 2 zones to play if you want to call it that. It's either the extreme outside part of the lane, like up 2-3, or it's right around 11 to 9-ish zone. Both can be effective. Yeah, good observation there in the chat. 13 and 14 might be the pair today. Could be. 15 and 16 looked the best yesterday. Wow, Duster. I'm actually going to highlight that shot. Quentin Bell with back-to-back opens. He's working on 279, but overall this pair, I mean, they can bowl 660 or so, or maybe even more. Take a look at Duster's shot here. I want you to look at the loft. He's actually got a little bit of loft, going a little left to right through the front part of the lane, using a big asymmetrical ball. That's pretty good. It's about as good as you're going to see out here. Dallas with a light 278. Kyle Duster can bowl in the 240s. 245 is max. Quentin Bell, after an unbelievable start, backs into a small 2-0 game here. Dallas can still bowl 234. Ryan Howard, 169. Jasmine's going to be in the 140s. Kevin Jones can bowl 213. I like what Duster's doing. I do like what Duster's doing quite a bit here. Carson Opella down on 9 and 10 can still bowl 258 going into the 9th frame. Will Davis can bowl 218 also going into the 9th frame. Trying to look for some of the bigger scores here. It looks like the biggest scores are happening right here, although Jacob White down on 21 and 22 had 243. Good start for Jacob. Looks like we're going to see 3 games over 200 on this 13 and 14. Oh, little trip of the 2-pin over there on 12. Duster trying a different ball. Comes in light. After Dallas throws this shot, I do want to look at Duster's shot before that. His second shot in the 10th. I think this is a real roadmap on how to play this pattern. That's right over Dallas's toe. Pulled it and still gets it to strike. Here's Duster. This was the second shot in the 10th. Left to right to the front. And just a beautiful looking line to the pocket. We also call him Andre Agassi around here. I think he looks like Andre Agassi. So Dallas with a double in the 10th is going to be in the 230s. Show Duster's shot again. And bring in the Andre Agassi look-alike here. And Dallas 4-9 is a good place for it. Tell me if you see the resemblance here when he turns around. See it? I see it. Nice game for lanes 13 and 14. Also Kevin Jones with 202. Slide over here. Looks like game 2 about to get underway here. Let's see if we got anything going on here. Game number 2 is underway here already as well. Let's move it over. Eddie Joe Torres, Jacob Gill. Something doesn't look right there with my lane talk. No pairs have 4. So let me reset that real quick. Let me see what's going on. There we go. Derek Phillips, David McKay, and Eddie Joe Torres. But we're gonna move back down to where we've got more players here and cover more lanes. We'll keep an eye on 21 and 22, of course, throughout the day. We've got Tyler Lyons, Jackson Garton, Trey Brand, and the hot pair of Quentin Bell, Dallas Leong, and Kyle Duster. We'll see if they can continue bowling 200 games over here on lanes 15 and 16 as they move one pair to the right. Squads seem small. The morning squads are smaller. I mean, this tournament, runs Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, we had 14 bowlers on A squad, 29 bowlers on B squad, 16 bowlers on C squad, 34 bowlers on D squad, 22 bowlers on E squad. It all adds up. 6 qualifying squads. We're at 115 entries right now. We'll probably get 35 or so. We'll be at 150 entries. Roughly 90 unique bowlers or so. 90 to 100 unique bowlers. 100 people to come out and bowl a tournament. It's decent size. Folks, I will be right back. And I'm back with scores from game number 1. As I said, we had a couple of 240 games. Jacob White, Kyle Duster, who we were watching during game 1. White had 243 down in the end pair. Dallas had 232. Will Davis, 218. Trey Brand, 212. Carson Opella had 204. Kevin Jones, 202. Quentin Bell, 201. 8 games over 200. 22 bowlers on the squad. Take a look at all of the scores here, right there. There we go, that should do it. Pretty high scoring to start the day. So as we wrap up game number 2, we got Quentin Bell can still bowl 213. Dallas Leon can bowl 216. 215 for Kyle Duster. 207 for Trey Brand. 177 for Tyler Lyons. And Jackson Garton can still bowl 186. Get that 9 out, Kyle. It's a big double setting up the 10th frame. Good chance to be in the 190s at least. I'm going to invert the stream for a second. Take a look at our scores over here. 152 for Antonio Correa. We got Daniel Hong had 176. Pat Bottom had 137. Ryan Howard out there filling frames. No opens through 6. Jasmine Jones yet to strike. Trying to get it going here. Does have the 1 open in there. And Kevin Jones off to a bit of a rough start. How's everybody doing this morning? Let's see. Mike, you say you're going to semi-retire in 3 years. Do you have someone in mind to take over? No, I don't. That's why I'm letting people know 3 years in advance. The entry fee is different in each squad, and can you pay them up all at once? The entry fees are different each day. Goes up $50 a day. Instead of being your color guy right now, I'll switch over to be play-by-play because we got the best color man in the business, Mike Fagan, joining us now. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Mike? Good morning. Good morning, America. Good morning.
Yeah, that's right. This is the fifth squad of the event, and this pair here, this group, all bowled 200 the first game, and they have a chance to do it again here on lanes 15 and 16. I think Kyle Duster might have the best look that I've seen Anybody have on the fresh?
Wow, 240 to start. I mean, that's really impressive. I mean, we were having this conversation yesterday, Mike, and, the scoring pace, if you want to think about what it's going to take to make the cut, it's probably in the high 180s, all right? Which is 50 pins lower than most scoring paces at most tournaments, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, bowling 240 on the fresh, that is pretty much like bowling 290. I mean, that's the equivalent right now. So, really cool to see some of these guys figuring it out. I mean, Kyle, this is his first squad. He just came in from, I believe, California.
He did. Yeah, he's got a good gig, good job. So he's not able to take off early to come out here. He bowls this event every year, loves this event. I mean, he should be a spokesperson. You should put him on the payroll. He loves it so much. And, he's got just such a simple game. When you watch him bowl, you wouldn't think, okay, this guy's elite. But he just repeats. And looks are a little deceiving with this guy. He's really good. I put this up on the screen a little bit earlier. Here, I'm going to show you the replay of where he's playing on the lane, and you can also see the comparison that I made to an athlete. So I'm going to bring this up real quick. We'll do it after Dallas's first shot here in the 10th. Dallas has got the high game of the tournament yesterday. 259. Playing right up at him like that. All right, here we go. So here's his shot, and we think he looks like Andre Agassi.
That's so funny.
But watch how great this ball just goes through the pins. I mean, this is like beautiful. And then here you could do the comparison here, looking at him and Agassi.
Well,
pretty close.
I don't know. Kyle doesn't look like he's going to lose his hair ever. Agassi went bald. So
That's true.
I think he's got one up on Agassi. Yeah, I mean, this is what this weekend is all about, man. Just keeping it in play, keeping it simple, not trying to do too much. Let the pattern come to you when it comes to you. Don't try to force it when it's not coming to you. I mean, there's just some pairs out there where 180 sounds crazy, but 180 is going to be a really good game. I don't know. I think I bowled maybe 10 U.S. Opens over the course of my career or so. And, that was one of those events where you just could never force it. And then for a few years there, when the scores were really, really low and they were just brutal. I mean, you were doing it with different angles than this week, but all you're really trying to do is just try to hit the right side of the head. Don't do anything crazy. No matter where your angles are, whatever part of the lane you're playing, you're kind of just throwing it at the 3-pin. That's the old adage we used a lot. Just throw it at the 3-pin, try to get it to tip up a bit. The guys you see out here who are trying to play a little too much shape, they may find it one game, but then they get in trouble.
All right, game 2 in the books here. We'll go ahead and slide into game 3. Mike and Mike here with you. Still every once in a while I get people that hit me up and tell me how much of a fan they were of my game and really wish I would come back out on tour. And I always have to say, go follow Mike Fagan Athlete over on Facebook, and he'll be the one to help you with that. It's not because we necessarily look alike or anything. It's just the name, man. It happens a couple times a year.
You just got a couple extra letters. That's it.
I know it. It is kind of weird. It is kind of weird when you think about life and where it takes you and different places and stuff. And I mean, both of us in our own way have carved out careers in the bowling industry.
This is true.
You took you took a different path, but some way somehow you landed back in being around bowling.
Well, it's a lot of fun, man. You know, the corporate world is just kind of soul sucking. It's, you know, listen, bowlers can be negative too, and some of them are tough to deal with. You know, we try to exude some positivity into everything. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we are bowling for money here. We are trying to take it seriously, and you know, even your local league, you're probably bowling for some money, and you're trying to take it seriously, but it's not life or death out there, right? And I mean, I think when you kind of step back and realize that we're all here just to have some fun, get some entertainment in our lives, and enrich our lives through the game of bowling, then I would hope that we think we have more in common than we don't.
I don't know what I just did here. This is game 2 finishing up here. I must have got rid of my graphic. Going into game 3 in some other areas. Bottom right of your screen is game number 3. You know, I often think about the league model. You know, multiple things have to take place in a league. One is the bowling center needs to stay open, and the amount of square footage in a bowling center and the cost of heating and cooling and, you know, even putting oil down the lane, and then the $50,000 machine that applies oil to the lane, and, you know, just all the things that it takes to run a bowling center. Sometimes it's easy as a league bowler to get it caught up in your mind about how, oh, I'm here tonight to make money for myself. And I understand that when you're a good bowler and you want to be able to make money in brackets and everything else like that. But I do think that as I've gotten older, I have more of an appreciation for just the places being open and allowing me to come in and have the opportunity to do what I love to do. So I think that's changed things quite a bit in my mind.
Yeah, it certainly puts things in perspective, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've went on some podcasts leading up to this event, trying to promote the event, and inevitably we start talking about different things going on in the industry and the economics of being a proprietor and string pins and all these different things. And, you know, there's a lot of people online that have their opinions, and they want to kind of drag me through the mud, drag the sport through the mud. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, there are it seems like every time you turn around, there's a bowling center closing. And all I'm trying to do is keep this thing going.
Yeah, keep it open.
You know, I mean, I grew up in New York, Long Island, and you know, I mean, we would bowl every weekend when I was in college, somewhere around New York City, whether it was sweepers or tournaments or action matches. And I mean, that was kind of our weekend of competition, just traveling around all the different centers in New York City, mostly. Almost all of them are gone now. I mean, New York City, obviously, some of the highest real estate prices in the country. But I mean, you know, even the traditional centers, you know, we heard about this week, Showplace in Staten Island, which was a big center, that closed or is ready to close. A very big center in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area, City View Lanes, recently closed its doors.
Yeah.
You know, proprietors, you know, at the end of the day, I'm a proprietor. I'm just like everybody else. I'm self-interested in some ways, you know. I'm trying to make it work. Other proprietors are also self-interested, and they probably have a better piece of land out there, and if someone offers them a series of millions of dollars, it's probably hard to say no. I get it. But at the end of the day, you know, I think there's a video I've been seeing a lot lately from Arizona Iced Tea. You know, and this gentleman talks about how, I mean, he may very well be a billionaire, you know.
Yeah.
Hundreds of millions of dollars, most likely. I mean, Arizona Iced Tea is probably one of the most well-known beverages in any gas station or any shelf, you know, in the country, maybe in the world. And you know, he talks about not raising his prices. He talks about we have no debt. We don't need to. We have plenty. And you know, I think it's hard to have that mindset, and that's I think why they display him in these videos, because he's kind of they got this contrarian, like, you know, I've got $100 million. Like, what's another 100 million gonna do for me? My life's not gonna change.
Right.
And I think that's, you know, I think that's, I guess it's a philosophical discussion, right? When is enough enough? You know, if I come out of this thing and I make a good amount of money and you know, I can live a good life and I get to see, you know, the sport that I love kind of grow along with it, that's enough for me. That's great, you know? And then I have to make that decision if, I think it was a car dealership came to City View, you know, and offered them a bunch of money. Like, is that going to happen? But luckily, I'm going around to a lot of proprietors and finding them looking to not want to go that path. They want to keep the community that they've built over the number of years. And I mean, that's really the reason why we're here today. I'm sure that the previous ownership here had opportunity to sell to real estate developers and those type of things. That's not the mission. The mission is to continue the sport and continue to build it. And you know, listen, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a minute. I'm kind of disappointed in the bowling community because we've been promoting this tournament for 6 months, and our entries are down. And for one reason or another, people aren't supporting this event as I would have hoped. Last year we had about 200 entries. This year we're probably going to have about 170 with re-entries. It's frustrating. I was really trying to get more PWBA bowlers here, more PBA 50 bowlers, people from all over the country, frankly, to come down. I know it's somewhat of a tough place to get to, but you know, I would just implore you all to say that, you know, these type of events don't grow on trees, and if you want to support bowling, get out there and bowl. Bottom line.
Yeah, I can get into the weeds on what I think the factors are in not only this event but some of the West Coast ones. I mean, you go to Taco Bell now, or you go to any sort of restaurant, and it's $15 to $20 every time. To fly now is more expensive. Southwest got rid of free bags because of rising fuel costs, driving, things like that, and you know, I think I wasn't going to necessarily go here, but I do think that right now our economy is affecting people that travel, and some of your, what is that called, expendable income? Disposable income? Yeah. I do think that is weighing in and is a little bit of a factor that has affected the weekend warrior bowler, to where maybe they can only bowl 60 or 70% of the events that they were able to bowl in the past. And
totally.
And you know, maybe the localization, you know, they talk about all the time, when fuel prices go up or when air travel goes up, it actually helps the local businesses, because people, they can't take a family vacation, so they do more of a staycation, where they go to their local zoos, they go to the local bowling centers, they go to skating rinks, things like that, and they make a vacation in their hometown to save on travel costs, and they can do more. So, you know, I think that might be a little bit, and I think out here being out west with not having as many bowlers as the Midwest or the East, that may be impacting the events a little bit. But you're right, the bowlers should show up, because you've done about 7 or 8 things here that is going above and beyond outside of just the realm of hosting a tournament. Your time, right now your time is very valuable with everything you have going on, and you've invested a lot of time into an event. That then the second point I'm making is, this isn't a moneymaker for you by any means. You're donating the lineage. You're doing it to do something good for the center, showcase the center. It's a marketing arm for you, if you want to call it that. But I think that's just what we put it on the P&L statement, just to make yourself feel good that you basically gave away a bowling center and your time for a weekend. Not that you don't enjoy doing it, because you do. You wouldn't do it if you didn't. But it is a generosity play. And then for you to take your scholarship money that you found, you know, that you had was smart from the center, and then say, you know what, screw it. I'm going to let junior bowlers come out and bowl this event, and I'm going to award $5,000 regardless. That's going above and beyond. You know, you also took the time to make sure that it's on something challenging, working with our pattern designers and that. Then also you brought Inside Bowling here, plus Dennis Hacker, plus Rick Barbera, so that the event's going to run without a hitch and also be showcased online. I mean, do I need to keep going? I mean, you've done all these things.
Well, I appreciate that, Mike. I like you said, these events don't just grow on trees, and I'm trying to make it work as best as we can with the availability of time that we have. And we have a lot of people supporting it. So I mean, I am really thankful and grateful for everyone that came out, and I know the schedules don't align for everybody every year. So it's good that we have a good amount, and by the way, we had a blast last night at the Pro-Am event. I mean, we really did. We just, everybody was just having so much fun. So, I mean, but like you mentioned, we are donating the lineage. This year we decided not to run a Saturday night squad, mainly because last year we ran squads all day Saturday. And, frankly, in the proprietor business, in the bowling business, you only get 52 weekends a year. And giving one away is hard. But if we can get, that's why we're running 8 a.m. squad, okay? I know that's early for a lot of people. For some reason, golfers don't mind playing 6 a.m. tee time, but
right.
Getting bowlers at 8 a.m. is harder. But, there's plenty of hours in the day. We're going to run this tournament in the morning and the afternoon. We're going to free up some lane availability tonight for some open play bowlers to help feed the coffers a little bit and make this weekend not a total loss for the bowling center and keep paying the bills. But I mean, from the tournament perspective, you're right. This is a loss leader for me. There is no profitability in this for me in the short run. In the long run, we hope to promote bowling and get more people bowling and excited about bowling, and that's why we're doing it. And I mean, you can look at organizations like Strike 10. That's what they do when they support different types of sporting events, and they support the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I mean, this is the top of mind awareness that we want in our sport, so that people think about bowling and what do we do with our free time. Maybe we'll go bowling. And yeah, Mike, you're right. The economy is probably getting a little bit soft for people, especially those who are, living more paycheck to paycheck. And I do think, though, that most people can find $20, $30 to go bowling versus, maybe they'll skip that trip to Disney World this year.
Mm-hmm. We do have scores that have
How we doing?
That have come in. Let's take a quick look. I'm going to get it so we can see everybody in the squad. There we go. Our man Kyle Duster, 242-191 start. Dallas Leon, 232-193. Then you got Jacob White with 243-175. So notice a trend with those first three positions. All have come down considerably in game number 2, the transition game, moving to a new pair, but not Quentin Bell. He's like, oh no, I'm taking the Austin Grammer approach. I go 201, 202. I'm going to try to bowl every game over 200, which is just incredible that Austin did that in our opening squad. And then you got Will Davis with 218, 167. So you got 4 players plus through 2 games, and a handful of them going all the way down, I would say, to Tyler Lyons at 345 or so, with respectable starts to this event.
Yeah, that first game, I think, it seems like it's going to be that game to get it. If you got to get some extra pins, carve a little hole for yourself in your 10 minutes of practice, give yourself a little bit of a hook spot with all that surface maybe, and, just try to get a good game going, because the next pair you go to, you may not have had those people kind of carving it up for you, creating a little hook spot to get that ball started. So, yeah, the pair-to-pair is super tricky. But it does seem like that first game is somewhat gettable if you can set up the pair the right way. And, take advantage of it, right? I mean, starting off with a 230 or 240 on this and hopefully just kind of relaxes the nerves a little bit. But, yeah, we've got, I know there's been some talk about, they liked previous formats of no re-entries, and now we're doing re-entries. I think the re-entries for me gives people an opportunity to to get their feet wet under them on a very, very challenging pattern, and make sure that they are kind of prepared and they're coming in for the next squad if they need to, and gives them a reason to potentially travel from a longer distance because they know they're going to have more than one shot at it. I understand if we ever were to go back to a one squad kind of, let's call it PBA regional style format, the entry fee would have to get a lot higher. I mean, it would just have to in order to support the prize fund if we want to do a nice top prize. And you know, that may be a little scary for people too. Right now, I mean, today's squad is $350. There's nothing to shake a stick at. It's a big investment for a lot of people. Absolutely, we're doing $1,000 last cash guaranteed. So I mean, you could technically still bowl 2 or 3 squads and break even, depending on your travel costs and whatnot. So I mean, that was our goal here, to make sure that that last spot was covered and give people some comfort that they can come out, bowl a couple times, and you know, if they sneak into the cut, it's not a total loss for the weekend.
Rockaholic here in the chat says, I'm in Pennsylvania. Why would I want to spend all that money to come to New Mexico to hopefully average 190? Not happening. So, Rockaholic, I appreciate your opinion on that. I'd like to dissect your comment a little bit, and not to pick on you or anything, but I guess the question would be, what if the comment was this? I am in Pennsylvania. Why would I want to spend all that money to come to New Mexico to easily average 220, but need to average 250 to win the tournament? Okay. Does that sound better? Or if it was a house shot, Rockaholic, would you be here? That would be the next. That would be the next question.
I think this is where the. All right, so I'll dissect a little bit of that comment. All right. First off, when you're talking about scoring pace, it's all relative. You know, the guy next to you is averaging 170, you're averaging 180, or the guy next to you is averaging 230 and you're averaging 240. It's all relative, and it's just a scoring pace. Now, we could get in a whole debate about scoring pace, especially when it comes to lefties versus righties, but I think there is some parity here. I mean, we've only had a handful of lefties, and they're for the most part, they're holding their own, and the scoring pace is holding. So, you know, that's just kind of a mindset, right? Like, whether, you know, some of my best tournaments ever were very, very low-scoring events, you know, and I was never a big fan of the shootouts, but, you know, that is some people's cup of tea. If you want to average 240 and not get a check, I mean, yeah, but you want to pat yourself on the back for averaging 240, then that's your kind of, that's what you want to do. About the travel thing, like, now, listen, I was a professional bowler. I traveled the world. I was looking for any tournament that was possible. There were situations where I got on planes and I traveled to Southeast Asia. I literally traveled with no roommates and no other companions on a whim to the Abu Dhabi Open. I was just like, I want to go to this tournament. Pays $25,000 for first. Nobody else wants to go. I'm just going to go. And I got on a plane by myself to Abu Dhabi. And that was it. And yeah, it was, you know, it was an investment. It was expensive. I didn't really make any money for it. But 2 years later, they had the Men's World Championship in that same house. And I knew all about that house before I walked in the door. And out of all the Team USA members there that year, there really was no argument. I had the best look and I had the best finishes amongst all of our Team USA bowlers because I went to that house 2 years earlier or a year and a half earlier and kind of scouted it out.
And you knew what equipment to bring and everything else.
I knew what equipment to bring. I knew the surface. I knew everything. And it was like, okay. I had to get on a 12-hour flight to do that. But, you know, so I get it. Listen, some people are, I was all in, right? I was 100% of my life was committed to becoming the best bowler in the world, and that's what I did. But, you know, hey, I think it's just a matter of how bad do you want it. You want to be here? You know, we've got woman from Toronto here. We've got people from Chicago. We've got people from the Midwest. We obviously have people from the West Coast. You know, this is not, this is not the USBC Masters or the US Open. I mean, we would love to continue to grow it, and I'm trying to do everything I can to grow it. But yeah, we want to get people from all over the country, man. It's or even the world, if we can.
I saw a comment in here about changing the date because there's a PWBA regional in Wichita. There's tournaments every weekend all throughout the country. This tournament was actually moved back a week because it competed against the 11thframe.com Open as a massive, massive tournament in the Midwest that this was up against last year. So there's been some movement with that. There's been some effort to try to not schedule on top of where bowlers would come out and bowl.
Yeah, 100%. So originally our weekend for this was the second weekend of August. And then we were working on dates in the February timeframe. January, February, we were talking about what are the dates going to be. And then scouting the bowling calendar, we realized that the PWBA Tour's Tour Championship was that weekend. The weekend we have been every single year for probably the better part of 20 years. And we decided that we want to go after PWBA bowlers. We want PWBA bowlers at our tournament. We think they add a lot of value to the event. We're going to give them 8 pins a game handicap. And guess what? I'll get off my. I'm not gonna get on the air and complain, but we didn't get many to show up, and I'm a little disappointed because I do think that this would have been a really good event for a lot of the PWBA bowlers, especially getting 8 pins to handicap a game, and I think that maybe we'll kind of hope to understand why that's the place, but there are events on the calendar every year that everybody circles. We want to be one of those events. Right now the Lucy is that event. The holiday doubles is that event. There's events like that all year long that people just circle, and they're like, come hell or high water, I'm going. I don't care what it costs me. I mean, so we want to be one of those events, and I know it takes time. We've got 22 years of history under our belt, but there's still a lot more that we can do.
So there's your deep dive into the tournament, everybody.
But it also is tough. I mean, I know that the PBA 50 team, PBA 50, PWBA, just coming off a long season, probably the last thing you want to do is just get back on the road, right? So maybe there is a better time of year or a more strategic time of year to have this event. So we'll kind of diagnose what's going on here and maybe where we can fit into the annual calendar better. But yeah, we're still very happy with the turnout. I mean, we would obviously love it to get bigger, and our goal is to continue to grow. But at the end of the day, we've got a really nice event here. A champion is going to be crowned. They're going to walk home with a nice check and a nice trophy and some nice memories. And frankly, we got the bowling community together here to compete and get together and hopefully have a good weekend.
And not to mention when they go to whatever event they're going to bowl next, the lanes are going to seem super easy.
Start calling this the New Mexico Open Combine.
That's it.
Flanagan won't lie. Flanagan won't lie.
Hey, listen, I mean, if you can re-enter this tournament, 4 times.
Looks like I had 4 to 6, but when I turn around, I only have 4 pins.
Sorry, we got a little replay we got to look at for scoring purposes.
I might be able to just do it here. This thing's a little finicky, but. All right, let me see where we at. What frame are we in right here? Let's see. Let's see how far back I can go on this thing. It's a little finicky. I'm going to do it over here.
All right, while we get that going.
Looks like we had just switched over there.
Yeah, the 4-6 up, right? Yeah. I turned around and came back and showed the 9 and had a 4. Yeah, I think it probably has. It's not bad.
Yeah.
4-6.
Yep. Been having to use replay a little bit here with a couple of respots.
No, just 4-6. Just 4-6. Anyway, so where I was going with that is, this tournament is sanctioned. Obviously, we've got the USBC president as our tournament director.
Yep.
You only need 21 games to establish an average, right?
Oh, okay.
You come
Yeah.
here, you bowl 3 or 4 squads. You get 21 games. Your book average is now 147. And, you can go clean up every handicap tournament out there. I don't know if that would be equivalent. I don't know if that's kosher, but
Probably not.
all right. So let's see how Kyle here handles a little bit of adversity. He's has a little. He started with a double, but now he's kind of staring 170 down.
He's good in the 9th frame. It's almost automatic in the 9th frame.
I think you should capture that. Make it a button on your console. Here we go. 9th frame, Kyle Duster. He's solid in the 9th frame, apparently. Okay, all right. He's starting to migrate left, though. That's
He is. Yeah, he's got to have a little angle in the front part of the lane. He's got to be a little steep. I don't know if I talked to you about this, but one thing that Barnes brought up, which, Barnes is always going to look at just about everything, which is what you want. Let me place a layer here. Yeah, over here. Let's see. I think it's this one. Yep. All right, good spare. All right, whoops, that is not what I was looking for. Let's try this again.
all right. Let's bring up the pattern. Here we go.
Yeah. Okay, so I was really focusing on the forward load data number 9 entry, which is the 2-2 from 22 to 32 feet, and then that brush is just super, super wet. It's going at 18 speed. It never gets any faster. It doesn't taper. It's just thick oil.
Are you able to highlight that for the viewers?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not really.
Well, line number 9.
Line
on the
number
top
9,
there, forward loads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing that Barnes said is he really felt like when he was bowling that the front of the lane likes to hook. And it's because of that reverse load data. If you notice, the machine stops applying oil onto the brush at 15 feet. So 15 feet back to the foul line, even though the brush is still pretty wet, there's no oil being applied to the brush. That's fresh oil from 15 feet back to the foul line. So, your normal house pattern, or most patterns, are built to where the machine stops oiling somewhere between 5 and 8 feet back to the foul line. You got an additional 7 feet of drier, not dryness, because there's still oil on the brush, but and that also can lead to really difficult conditions because your ball wants to start to hook early, and then down lane, it doesn't want to hook.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, if this pattern had 2 more 2-2s instead of just 2 of them at low data 5 on the reverse, it would bring it back to, I believe, around 8 feet. And that would make a giant difference in your ball clearing the fronts.
Yeah, this is something in my career that I never got super technical about. I believe that, and maybe it was an opportunity for me to get more technical, but at the same time, when there's a lot going on in your head while you're bowling, it also is hard to let go. So for some folks, simplicity works. For me, it was not necessarily something that I dug into as much as I probably could as a tournament organizer. But yeah, I mean, the way you're describing it makes a lot of sense to what we're seeing out there. This is a HPL surface. It's 10 plus years old. It's got a lot of traffic on it. The heads are going to hook, relatively speaking. Anyway, nice spare there by Kevin Jones. And yeah, I mean, I think that is one of the biggest parts of why it's so challenging right now, because there is not enough oil in the front of the lane for you to just stand on top of it and wrench on it, try to hit it as hard as you can, and kind of throw it towards the pocket, because it'll hook early and go high. But then you kind of give the pocket away just a fraction of an inch, and it might sail by the head pin. So it's super touchy. And I think that's what a lot of the bowlers are seeing, and that's why it's just really challenging to avoid those low numbers. Bowling's funny though, man. It's one of those things where one small little change, like you just mentioned, that could increase the scoring pace 20 pins.
It could. Yeah, if you wanted the scoring pace to go up, you could apply more oil in the front part of the lane, and then have the reverse brush drop at maybe like 40 feet, and or shorten the distance of the pattern by 2 feet.
It is definitely more of an art than a science in some ways. There is science involved, but at the same time, dialing it in, you kind of just put a pattern together. It's going to be challenging. Did we have a target score in mind? I think probably even par was probably a nice score in mind, but it's going to be lower than that. And I mean, once the pattern's out, that's what it is. We're not going to tweak it, and we're kind of just going to let it play. And we've got some comments in this chat about what is the right scoring pace number. This is definitely on the lower side. I mean, I don't remember many tour stops, and I mean, you're talking about obviously the best bowlers in the world. Only really the U.S. Open and a few other times was the scoring pace for the leader of the event under 220. Cut scores, could fluctuate, especially at the U.S. Open, into negative territory, definitely. But we got to. There's different types of hard, and I think that this hard is hard for everyone. It's not necessarily there's a secret formula out there. I mean, there are going to be, we could make the lanes bone dry where you've got to launch it over the gutter, and for some people that's going to be hard, impossible, and for others it might be really natural and easy. So I think for this type of pattern, keeping people kind of on the lane versus going, super dry and having them launch it and loft it, which will, automatically take people out of the play. I think this creates opportunity for everybody. I mean, everybody is capable of playing the track, and that's kind of where we need to be. Somewhat a little bit left maybe on some pairs, a little bit right on others, but it's not necessarily a physical capability that's holding you back from this event.
Heading into game number 4, Mike and Mike here with you.
All right, we're going to have scores up here in a moment. Let's see where we're going at. Right now, we're projecting the cut to be minus 87. That's where we're projecting the top 24 cut to be. We've got about 3 hours till our final squad.
Hey, we've been talking about this oil pattern, and I do want to remind everybody that it really is amazing at how much you can control scoring pace when you're only talking about this much total oil being put on the lane. That's all that gets put out there, folks. Like, grab your Windex bottle at home and squirt it like 4 times, and that's the amount of oil that covers the entire lane. And then you feel these new bowling balls that have 1,500 grit on it, and you would think, how in the hell does this oil prevent that ball from hooking when it's only 35 mils?
That is incredible when you think about it like that. I mean, spread out over, it's 60 feet long is the lane, right? I mean, obviously we're not oiling 60 feet, but.
No, we're oiling 43 or whatever it is.
Okay, so let's just keep the numbers simple. Like, the lane is roughly 4 feet wide and actually less than that, right? 3.5?
Yeah, 3.5.
Okay, so let's just say, keep the numbers simple. Let's say 40 feet oil and you're oiling it 3 feet wide.
120.
120 square feet.
Yeah, gets 35 mils.
Only 35 milliliters of
and
oil.
that's high volume. A house shot's 23 mils.
Wow.
Anytime I ever hear anybody say, man, there's a puddle of oil out there. There's never a puddle of oil out there. There's a graduated cylinder of oil out there that is somewhere between 18 and 40 mils. One thing I love about our Lane Talk scoring integration here is that you can keep an eye and see how people are bowling as the totals do come over. You always got to remember to subtract whatever number is up on the board. So Will Davis has actually bowled 529. As soon as Will gets a tabulated score up there on the board, then that number will go up. Carson Opella, for instance, is bowled 489. You have to subtract the 40 off of that number. So it gives you an idea as to how folks are bowling. So Jacob White is plus through 3 games. He is plus 5, 605 start.
There you go. Just slid over the 4-9 there. Nice spare, Jacob. Jacob actually got a lane after the squad last night and just shot spares. And I think it's paying off for him.
Yeah, that's great. You know who else does that all the time is Kelly Kulik.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I observed her at a couple PWBA events where she would bowl all day, and then she would go down to a pair all the way on the end, and she would just shoot like whatever she felt like she didn't do a good enough job of for like an hour. Everybody else was going to dinner, not Kelly.
Well, that's why she's one of the greatest of all time. You got to have that commitment and know that I'm going to put myself through this practice session, even though I don't really want to because I need it.
Scores after 3, Mike. 6:44 start for Dallas Leong, our defending champion. We've been following him along and watching him bowl as we are right now. Kyle Duster on that pair as well, 6:07. Jacob White with 6:05, who we were just watching, and we got Tyler Lyons at 5:79, followed by Jacob Gill at 5:61. I need Jacob to have a score somewhere in the 1150 range or so. He keeps bowling every
He does
squad.
already. Yeah, he's actually got about
Does he have
1150.
does he have 1150 in there?
Yeah, I mean, so Jacob, our local legend, Jacob, yesterday was his birthday. Happy birthday. He bowled in a lot of our winner spots. He actually won 5 winner spots for the tournament. This is his 5th squad. We actually had to tell him stop bowling, let somebody else win, Jacob. And I think his score is going to be okay for the finals. So I'm pretty sure he'll be in. But getting as many games on this as possible. He obviously is trying to still see a little bit of the picture, but Dallas seems to be figuring things out, starting with a double again after 640. Really solid start there, and it looks like there's probably a handful of guys that are pacing to be in our number here, and even a couple guys pacing. We're projecting actually to get buys in the finals. We're projecting -3. So anybody plus is likely to get buys in our final round tomorrow.
Duster has moved a bit to the right and has balled down and missed the head pin to the right.
Tough spare on this. Covers that nicely.
By the way, if Chris Barnes is watching, he might likely be watching right now. We have your, what do we call these things?
Tumbler?
Yeah, we have his tumbler. Your tumbler is here, Mr. Barnes. We have it for you in the booth. Kept my beverage very cold this morning. Thank you for that.
Mike Flanagan loves bowling.
Yes, I do.
Is that Pat McAfee?
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, McAfee came to the U.S. Open this year, and I had an interaction with him, and he went on about an 8-minute rant about how much he loved bowling being in Indianapolis, and he several name drops for me on that show.
Oh, that's fun, man. Love that.
Let's see what else I got. Here's him. He had a chance to meet this guy.
A. Johnson.
Because we were standing there, we were kind of like talking about how A.J. Johnson, his name is Adam Johnson, but he goes as A.J. Johnson, and the A.J. is for Adam Johnson. So we were talking about how it's Adam Johnson.
I never
right?
knew that.
Yeah, A. Johnson.
A. Johnson. A. Johnson.
Oh man, we could put a beat to that.
Oh, definitely.
Oh wow.
And then
where's Kevin Williams when you need him, man?
Yeah, no kidding.
We could definitely remix that.
And so I told Pat, I said, hey, I need to get you in the Bowl TV booth if possible. I said, I've told my audience I'm going to get you in there, and I can't be a liar to these guys. I can't lie to my audience. I'm like, I make fun of myself. I'm kind of like you a little bit, Pat. I'm a little off the rails. And I said, so if you get a chance to come by, even if it's for 5 minutes, we got an open chair. It would mean the world to me. So he told his audience to let my audience know, or our audience at Bowl TV know, he couldn't come by the booth, but
Flanagan won't lie.
yeah, I don't lie. And then he said, because we were having such a good time, he thinks because he's into wrestling. He's a wrestling announcer and that. So
Mike Flanagan, that guy's a character.
that guy's a character. Okay. And then he also said that I am.
Mike Flanagan is a heel announcer.
I'm a heel announcer. So.
A heel announcer. What does that mean?
Like a heel in wrestling. Like I'll kind of sort of say something stupid just to kind of sacrifice myself so somebody else can win.
Mike Flanagan is a heel announcer.
I'm glad you had a lot of fun, man.
McAfee's like Dick Weber too, man. He doesn't forget anything. Like he and I had a conversation for probably 5 to 7 minutes, and he's so good at what he does. It's unreal. He's like, so what's like, you know, like what's the scene here? Like what's the biggest story going on? I go, well, the biggest story is your Indiana guy, your fellow Hoosier, EJ Tackett, winning, you know, 3 players a year in a row, going for 4. It's never been done before in the history of bowling. And he's like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, it's extraordinary what he's doing, you know. And then I'm like, AJ Johnson, who you've been talking to here, I'm like, he's throwing it really good right now. I said, last week he had a peanut allergy and he had to withdraw from the event. And he had a really good look in practice. I thought he might win the event. So, like, everything we talked about, and I said, Bull TV, whatever, McAfee got in his car and did this, like, 3-minute social post and basically repeated everything. He goes, this EJ Tackett boy, he's looking to do something that's never been done before, you know? He's bringing it, you know, and he's like, and AJ Johnson, one for that peanut allergy, you know, he's got a good look too. Flanagan told me he was going to win last week. Like, I mean, he remembered everything that we said to him.
Love that.
And AJ Johnson was like the perfect person for him to like buddy up to because
High school football player.
yes,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, they really hit it off. So it was like a perfect introduction to bowling. So then this is a true story. So the next day, you know, I went ahead and I tweeted, X'd, whatever you call it now, and I gave a shout out to Pat and the boys, you know, that came by, and I just said, you know, thanks for coming by, I really appreciate it. And then my tweet was up on the screen on his show, and I'm like, I got to go look and see who I'm following here. Is there anything I'm following that could be controversial? Because you know, I don't want any of that coming my way. You know, I don't know what I followed over the years, so I was like going through just double checking who do I follow here. And yeah, it was a surreal week. And then what happened? Pat said he was maybe going to come by later in the week. So I'm standing outside on Saturday, and we're on break. It was quite a big break. So me and the boys at Bull TV, we went and got something to eat. We came back, and it was me and Chase Kaufman were hanging outside, kind of by the TV truck. And we walked outside, and all of a sudden I hear from across the parking lot, out of this black SUV, Flanagan, don't go anywhere, we're coming. And Chase looks at me and goes, who the hell is that? I go, I have no idea. And it pulls up, it's McAfee and his crew. And he goes, there's no bowling right now? I'm like, no, man, they're on break. He's like, oh, damn, I thought they were bowling all day. We were going to come in and check out some more bowling. And I'm like, yeah, no, they don't start up for 2 hours. He goes, well, we're going to go get some food. We might come back, you know, tonight. And I'm like, okay. And then he started asking me a bunch more questions or whatever. And he's like, and Chase was just kind of like, man, you're like boys with this guy already after 5 minutes. I'm like, I think he's the Dick Weber, man. I think that's his secret sauce. Because, you know, Dick Weber never forgot a name.
Oh, no.
He'd meet you one time, and he knew exactly who you were, knew everything. I mean, he retained everything.
That's incredible, man.
McAfee's the same way. Yeah.
The
Great.
walking CRM. Yeah, man. No, that's so cool. That's just a lot of fun, especially, you know, having somebody like that who's obviously got great energy and he's got a great following, you know, and kind of give bowling a shout out on his own show and, you know, not unapologetic about it, not afraid to kind of actually give us some credit. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like, I think a lot of commentators and broadcasters out there, I mean, you know, I remember when like Bill Simmons came on the show and everything, and he was just being very condescending towards everything, and it was just like, man, this is like, why are you even here, man? You know what I mean? But at the same time, you get guys like that who are authentic, and, you know, they realize that, you know, we're out here trying to give it our all every single week and trying to make this thing as best as we can for ourselves and for the sport. And, you know, it just feels good to have that kind of, that type of attitude, and you know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really good. But yeah, man, I mean, I think that to me, if you handed me the keys to the PBA tomorrow, I mean, to me, it's all about the live event. It's all about getting people like McAfee there because there is some type of VIP experience for them. There's vendors, there's food trucks, there's whatever we need there to make it a proper event. I should be able to walk into the bowling center for 2 days, maybe never even watch bowling, and still have an amazing time. And not just because I'm at the bar, but because there's things to do. It's a lot of fun. There's good environment, and I think bowling can be that, but it just needs to be about the event, the spectacle of it all versus, right now we are in a bowling center. There's no music going because, we're trying to respect the bowlers and we want to make sure we have a good broadcast and those type of things. But it's hard to create an atmosphere in these type of venues because you want to be respectful of the bowlers. But there's opportunities to create an atmosphere and create an event where, competitors and spectators alike are really, really enjoying themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all just, I think it's, I don't know, man. I really don't know how to say this, but, like, people that can go look at art and really appreciate art, I don't think art places are saying, what we need to do? We need to put in cosmic art and we need to, have music pumping in here and have more people coming in here to, put on 3D glasses and the art comes alive, and you press a button and all of a sudden the characters start moving, So, yeah, I'm with you, and I'm not trying to not validate what you're saying, because I do agree with sporting live events, you do need some of that. But at the same time, there's something very, very awesome about the Masters golf tournament where you go in and you cannot have your cell phones out. Okay, now in today's world, who in the hell sits in a marketing room and goes, all right, I got a great idea, guys. We're going to let people come here and we're going to tell them you can't have your cell phones. Everybody, like, if you don't have them, you can have withdrawals. But we're going to tell people you can't actually be on them for this event. And there's a waiting list to get in the door. Why is that? You know what I mean? So I think it's all about just kind of who you market to and what type of people are interested in things like this. If all of a sudden some big influencer came out and said, hey, you want to know the next GLP-1 or the next the next sugar-free drink that's going to be healthier for you or going to make you live longer, go to a bowling tournament and just enjoy the poetry of bowling. Be able to sit in there and watch these people do the same thing over and over again and throw round things at round things and see what happens. Because somebody can throw a dead perfect shot and lose the tournament. It's the most craziest, most exciting thing ever. Tom Brady, it's like Tom Brady throwing a touchdown pass to somebody and the receiver is wide open and just drops the pass to lose the Super Bowl. That is Randy Peterson versus Ernie Schlegel in a nutshell.
I understand where you're coming from. This is probably something that we are going to have to agree to disagree on.
Yeah.
Because I've been to a number of PGA Tour events, never the Masters, unfortunately. And overall, it's pretty boring to be at. I mean, there is not a heck of a lot going on. I mean, there's a couple things you can do. You can either follow one group around, you can walk around the course with them and watch the same people hit shots and, take your chances on where you get in the gallery, or you camp out and you're basically waiting like 10 minutes between shots. Golf live is not that exciting.
No.
Bowling, I mean, golf on TV, they do a fantastic job of creating a production that is really enjoyable to watch. I love watching golf on TV.
It's constantly moving.
It's constantly moving.
Let's head over to number 4.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it ends up becoming a little tape delayed, right? It's like they say this is live or this happened a few minutes ago, so there's always kind of key shots being shown, and it's well edited. It's a lot of great production. Not the most fun thing live, but if you go to the Masters, okay, you are probably going there because, either you have a lot of money and you're doing it to network, or you're going there to, eat all the good food, and you're going there to get a lot of merch. And,
It's a status play.
you know, there's a lot of other things going on.
Yeah.
And the people at Augusta National are trying to control the environment by not allowing cell phones on the property. You know, bowling could definitely do that. I think, you know, we're trying to get more shares and likes and things like that. So I would prefer, you know, more UGC or user-generated content out there about bowling. And I think a lot of our kind of influencers in the sport are doing a great job of promoting bowling, getting people excited about bowling. But you know, there's a lot of things that we could do to get people hooked on it. And I think one of the things that I would say, I wasn't really a big NFL person growing up. Like, I didn't really care much about NFL. I didn't watch much of it growing up. But the first time that I went to an NFL game, it changed my whole perspective on the NFL. And, you know, for most of my 20s, I was hooked because it was such a cool experience going to the live event. Bowling has kind of lost that. When I was a teenager, my parents would let me out of school on Fridays and such. Oh, we got
D-Ron Booker in the house.
D-Ron and Booker in the house. Looking good. Feeling good, hopefully. Good. Really glad to see D-Ron in the house. We'll have to get him on the mic here in a little bit.
Definitely.
But I'll just finish my thought. You know, growing up on Long Island in the 90s, the PBA Tour coming to town was an absolute humongous deal. And, you know, getting out of school early on a Friday to go watch the match play rounds, I mean, it was 4 or 5 people deep in the back. They were definitely violating fire marshal codes. And we were standing on tables and chairs in order to see some of the action.
Yeah.
You know, I'll date myself. They were using like overhead projectors to put the scores up on, you know, things like that. But it was just I don't know if they really made it a great event, but because there was so many people packed in such a small place, there was just a great atmosphere. That kind of aura has left professional bowling. You don't really get that anymore. And you know, it's not going to happen organically. It's going to take a lot of really strategic planning and aggressive marketing to get it back to that place where you must be there. This is the event that you want to get to, because even as a spectator, it is the best place to be in town, and you're going to have so much fun.
Trey Brand started with 547, is going to be in the 230s here. I'm with you on that, Mike. One other thing I just want to mention to put a ribbon and bow on this as well. I do think that if you created a set of bowling lanes and had a final at Comic-Con, I think you could do some really cool crossover, cross-promoting with all the folks that go to Comic-Con. They are enthusiasts and fanatical about what they enjoy, and if those fanatics could come over and enjoy bowling, even if it's to the point that, you know, I know some people might say this is like nails on a chalkboard to them, but, you know, if you had representing Marvel is this particular bowler, and, you know, representing, you know, the, you know, Batman is, you know, DC and the different sort, you could have people be like, I'm behind this bowler because they are representing, you know, and then if you ended up getting the celebrities involved, which is even a crazier idea, probably wouldn't happen, but you could always dream. If Robert Downey Jr., you know, had a bowler and E.J. Tackett was Iron Man, not dressed in an Iron Man costume, but maybe a motive-themed jersey that resembled Iron Man for this particular event. And, you know, I think the Comic-Con people could get really big into bowling. They are fanatical and enthusiasts, and those are the types of people that I think would actually really enjoy bowling.
That is a great thing about bowling. Anybody can do it. Anybody can enjoy it. Getting ingrained in some of these affinity groups. I know that Strike 10 is trying to do things like that with the NASCAR crowd, with college football, you know, these type of crowds. And I mean, you know, there's no reason why we can't kind of look at alternative affinity groups to be part of and introduce the sport to in some ways, because, you know, it is something that, you know, it's kind of misunderstood when it comes to the general public, because you've got a bowling center in every town, but if you're not really, you know, it could be a fun family fun center, it could be a very avid league bowler place, and you know, the family fun center is not necessarily going to develop the passionate bowler. The league house can be intimidating because you've only got people who have bowled there for 20 years.
Yeah.
And they like things a certain way. They're not really like, welcome to my bowling center.
Yeah.
You don't know what a dot is or an arrow? Like, I'll teach you. I don't know if you get that too much. So I think, yeah, getting more people introduced to the sport should be mission number one. All right, this pair, Kyle, Quentin, Dallas, is probably our featured group here coming off this pair. Not the best pair here. Dallas is grinding, but you know, these guys are struggling here. I'm sure they're looking to get off this pair as quickly as they can. Hopefully, get down to something where they can get some strikes up on the board.
Yeah, Duster coming over here, you know, had switched balls, was trying some different things here. Not in the same ball, same reaction than he had earlier. He's going way more straight at the 1-3 pocket as opposed to playing that little bit of left to right through the first third of the lane and letting the ball walk into the pocket.
Yeah, not necessarily what he's looking for here, but at the end of the day, he's going to look up at the scoreboard. He's going to be about 25 to 30 under after this squad, or after this game, with 2 to go. Still very much in striking distance, even for a bye in the finals. So I know it can be frustrating to give away some pins here, Kyle, but hopefully, I think he's still in really good shape, and hopefully he bounces back.
Dallas right there in the 1-3 doesn't get the 4 to fall.
Mike, there's some pairs out there that 190 is just a really, really good game.
Yep.
You know, I think 19 and 20 is just one of them. I don't know, you know, maybe our folks at Lane Talk could help us out with averages on each pair. I think that would be really helpful. I don't know how much data we can get out of that, but I would imagine that some of the pairs in the middle of the house, we are seeing more of those kind of 240 games. Some of these end pairs. Specifically, I mean, even just bowling in the Pro-Am last night, going from 17 and 18 and 19 and 20. 19 and 20 just might have some topographical issues that we're unaware of, but it is just not a pretty pair, and people are not bowling well on it. So coming in there and bowling 190, a clean 190 for Dallas, probably, you know, might have picked up 25 on the field there.
It's been an interesting conversation. Mike, are you sticking around, or you want me to bring D-Ron in?
Yeah, maybe we can get D-Ron in the booth. I'm sure everyone would love to hear how D-Ron is doing. I'll let him explain his situation, but unfortunately, we're not having D-Ron bowl this year, and we're wishing him the best. But we'd love to get him in the booth and talk about what's going on with him, how he's doing, and I guess the bowling scene out here in New Mexico.
I did not expect to see D-Ron here today. I was quite a shock when I looked over to my left, and there he was. So Mike's gonna exit, and we're gonna get D-Ron to come over here to join us here in our booth here. Carson Opella, Will Davis, Andrew Hughes, Ben Heckroth, Tower Lions, Jackson Garten, and Trey Brand here Trey is starting to really heat up, but he's moving over these lanes 19 and 20, the pair that Mike was just talking about. Glad you're with us here on Inside Bowling. Appreciate you guys being here with us this morning. I want to thank our sponsors one more time. Brunswick, Shamrock Foods, visit Rio Rancho, Kegel, Tenpins More, and all of us here at Inside Bowling. Don't forget, you can always save 15% at our store online with coupon code YouTube. Coupon code YouTube. Dallas Leong just went over to the Perry Bowl 259 on yesterday, lanes 21 and 22, and just missed the head pin. Got our standings in after 4 games. Let's take a look. Dallas Leong, your leader at 840. Games with 232, 193, 219, 196. Followed by Jacob White at 791. Then Trey Brand at 777 after that big 230 game. Kyle Duster is now 4th at 773. Jacob Gill 5th at 760. 6th is Ryan Howard at 733, followed by Will Davis in 7th at 721. Quentin Bell at 717 is 8th. Tyler Lyons is 9th at 713. And 10th is Kevin Jones, which is 695, his total. You can see all 22 players right there on our screen. Take a look and see how our players towards the top of the leaderboard are doing here. And Duster and Leong over here on lanes 21 and 22. Neither player has struck Leong 5 counts back to back. Nice shot there by Dallas. Let's move over here. Derek Phillips, Eddie Joe Torres, David McKay, Jacob White, Clinton Watkins, and Jacob Gill. Couple of doubles up there. Jacob White has the best game going at the moment. Second overall. His bold games at 243, 175, 187, and 186. I didn't have this one on the bingo card coming into the weekend, but I'm glad it's on the card now. Give me just a second here. I would like to welcome in a friend to the booth, D-Ron Booker.
Hey, all right. How do I sound? Do I sound pretty good?
You sound good.
I always like doing these and being in the booth with you, Mike. It is a pleasure, and truly, right now, I'm very grateful to still be sitting here with you guys. It has been a long road, and unfortunately, it's not going to end anytime soon. But with the bowling community and everything that's going on right now, I wanted to at least show my support with there not being so many people here, because I can't be around a lot of people due to like my immune system and everything. But I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you to everybody for their support, their love, their prayers, and it's just been, when you have your life completely change in 15 seconds, you go through every emotion. And that's what I went through. I went through the grieving process to know that, unfortunately, the tour is going to have to be on hold. But obviously, your health comes first. And one of the jokes that I like to tell people is, I was perfectly healthy, and I'm still a perfectly healthy person. I just got unfortunately diagnosed with the cancer that I have, which is BPCDN. Extremely rare. Doesn't mean I did anything wrong. It was just one cell slipped through the cracks, created bad cells, and when they found it, there was 16% of my cells that were already cancer cells, and I was feeling perfectly fine. It started off and destroyed my immune system, and so I was getting sick very, very easily, and I had no idea why. And it just kind of progressed from there. And the one thing that I can tell people is know your body. If something doesn't feel right, go and get it checked out. Because if I didn't, the unfortunate news would have been I would have only made it about another 4 or 6 weeks. And if it wasn't the flu or the cold, the cancer itself would have taken me out by December. So, and again, I bowled the Duke. I was in Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, I had to withdraw from nationals because that's when everything started really happening. And my team was like, there's something wrong. And I was like, I agree. And unfortunately, there was, but we saw it in time. And I'm just now going through the recovery phase, going through chemotherapy. And it's very aggressive chemotherapy just to try to keep it suppressed because this is a very rare, aggressive cancer. And I just have to keep going through. But I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to keep looking not like a sick person, you know. It's just, but I look a lot better than how I feel. But I'm here. I'm here to support when I can. And I told Rob and I told Mike, and I'm telling you, Mike, that I wanted to make it a point to at least get as much energy as I can to be here and to support all of my friends that are coming out to bowl the New Mexico Open. And this is the first time that I'm not bowling it in 12 years, I think.
Wow.
So it's disappointing. And if I was just maybe 3 or 4 weeks prior getting everything situated, I might have given it an attempt. But unfortunately, I haven't really thrown a ball in a while. So
understandable.
And bowling on something demanding like this, there's just no way that I would be able to have the stamina right now to be able to do that. And unfortunately, you know, like I'm a person that bowls, and any guys on tour knew that they would see me practicing at every practice session, trying to get some shots in, trying to learn. And right now, it really took a lot out of me. And doctor's orders, they want me to start bowling again. They want me to start.
Really?
Yes. They like the fact that I'm a, you know, I'm going to use this in quotes, professional athlete.
Okay.
Which is what they like to say. And they said, we want you to try to get your arms up, your legs, 10,000 steps a day, if you can. When you're going through chemotherapy, keep up your nutrition, keep up your protein. And we think that hopefully by the 2020, at the end of 2027, hopefully I'll be good enough to start competing again in 2028. But unfortunately, 2027 is just not in the books.
Well, you said a lot there. First of all, I was just sitting here, and I did not expect you to walk through the door. So, and you do look great. And we don't know what you feel like on the inside. I'll take your word for it that things are just not good going on the inside. But I do have some questions for you.
Absolutely.
So the first question is so you mentioned that, you know, if something in your body doesn't feel right, and I am going to move us over here. If something in your body doesn't feel right, you should go get it checked out right away. Mm-hmm. So you said 16% of your cells were cancerous. Mm-hmm. Do they feel like you caught it early then?
We don't know. That's the thing. Because we know that this is a very, very aggressive type of cancer. It could have progressed in 3 weeks. It could have progressed in a week. It could have progressed in 2 months.
Okay.
But I was changing my workout routines, and I was just becoming more and more fatigued as I started, you know, getting better with it. And I couldn't figure out why.
And how long did that go on?
It was about 3 weeks.
3 weeks,
Yes.
okay.
And then when I was in Reno was when everything really kick-started, which was about 2 weeks later, so it was about 5 weeks.
Okay.
And so between the doctors and myself and just kind of created my own little bit of a timeline, we're thinking it was probably after the Duke is when things started happening.
Okay, after the Duke.
Yes, after the Duke, which was around like the middle of June. And I was, like I said, the way my body felt, I wasn't sleeping very well. Even when I did sleep, I felt like I was just very fatigued. And again, doing the workouts and eating, I just thought, I changed my eating habits. I was going to the gym a lot, but it wasn't any of that. It was because your red blood cells, you know, help with the oxygen, and my body wasn't getting the right amount of oxygen. The white blood cells help fight off infections, and I was starting to get infections in places that I'd never gotten infected before. So that's when I knew, D-Ron, there's something wrong.
And how old are you?
35.
35.
Yeah, and the BPCDN, and I'll say it wrong. I am the I am the second youngest case that they've ever come across so far. This is something that people that are 60 to 65, even 70 years old, unfortunately, come down with. And at 35 years old, which is half the age, they're like, where did this come from? And the youngest was 22. So
22. Okay.
It's like I said, there's only one type of medication and chemotherapy that works for this. And we have to stay on it, because if we don't and it comes back, then unfortunately the one medication doesn't work, and it kind of we're trying to stay as positive as we can with how everything is going. But this is
So when you went in for not feeling well, and they ran the test, and they did everything, when you got the news of what this was, what were you doing when you were going through that? Like, how did you accept that?
I didn't for a while. I couldn't. You hear it, and am I dreaming? Is this the night? Like, what's going on? And the more the doctor was telling me, was the more the eyes started building up, because, I mean, I don't know anybody that would not cry knowing that, hey, you have this form of cancer.
Yeah.
And the doctors were so nice, and they were so kind, and they're like, okay, who do you want to call? Kind of let the news. And because my mom passed away from cancer in 1994, I called my dad, and I was like, hey, I'm already crying.
Right.
And
Yeah.
everything. And I said, I've been diagnosed with this form of acute leukemia. And, the sound of his voice was like, okay, trying to stay strong, and hearing this news. And they live all the way out in Georgia, so they're not even close.
Jeez.
Trying to get out here. And I said, okay, well, I'll call my sister after. And my sister just immediately started just crying and just asking the doctors, because she's a nurse, and she's like, well, what can we do, and how can we do this? And he just stayed with me for a while, and it was just like, okay, we're going to get you all set up in a room right now. We're going to do a bunch of blood tests. We're going to find out what type of leukemia that you have, and we're gonna fight this. I'll be with you every step of the way.
So once you were there, you stayed there?
That was it. I couldn't go home. I couldn't go home because I didn't have an immune system.
So you drove there.
Yep.
To figure out what was going on, and when you got there, you realized this is my
Yep.
Indefinite home.
This is my permanent residency for right now. And I couldn't leave, because any type of airborne, you name it, I would have been very, very sick, because I didn't have an immune system. So and that's it. Everything that you would do and you would think about was on hold completely. It didn't matter if it was a bowling tournament. It didn't matter if it was, going and getting a haircut or whatever
Sure.
it is that you had.
It's life is there.
That's it.
And then, so what was the date that took place?
It was July. It was right after. It's like the July teen. It might have been like the 12th or something. It was a Tuesday. I can tell you that.
Okay, so we're about a month and a half past.
Yeah.
That day. So your progress in a month and a half to be able to come here and be around people, to be on our airwaves, is to me and we're going to find. I want to dive into this a little bit, but to me seems like one hell of a step forward.
It definitely is. I was able to get my immune system back within working order within about a month.
Okay.
Which is very, very good. And it's still not perfect or whatever it would be, but it's good enough for me to at least come and say hi. And it's one of the things, Jason actually called me, Belmonte, and he said, I know you're going to get through this, because us bowlers, we're built different.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And,
powerful words.
Yeah. And that resonated with me throughout everything, through the ICU visit that I had, because I came across sepsis, and I was able to overcome that within 2 days.
Oh, that's outstanding.
Outstanding. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, doctors are like, who are you and where did you
Well, that's
come
good.
from?
Yeah.
That was one of the statements that resonated with me. And I just said, you know what? They're like, whatever it is that you're doing, or whatever it is that you did to prepare for this. I'm like, well, obviously, I didn't prepare for this, but you went through something that people take months to recover from. And I still had to do chemotherapy after being in ICU, because there's only a 10-day period that you can do a 5-day treatment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and I told them, I said, as soon as everything gets better, they're like, we're going to send you home, and we're going to have you just start doing outpatient because you're recovering. And what it is that you're doing is at an incredible rate. And so I said, really? And I said, yeah, like most people just, this doesn't happen to them. And I said, well, it's not my time to go yet.
Right.
And
Yeah.
there's,
Yep.
and you know, I have an entire bowling community that's behind me. It was incredible because I couldn't see much because I was just kind of laid up in bed. But when I really tried to respond and see what the bowling companies did and how things were, it was, Mike, it was, I couldn't believe it. I honestly couldn't believe it. And I feel like, you know, I'm in the right place. Everything in the world that we can do, I'm in the right place. It was incredible. And I still get bowlers. Sean texts me every day. Sean Nash, he's like, hey, how you doing? How are you feeling? He said, I'm going to bug you because I want to make sure that you're doing okay.
Yeah.
My friend, you know, Josh and everyone, we're in a group chat. How are you feeling? What's going on? Do you need anything? Are we going to Grubhub you something? And you know, and I just, like I said, you guys, I appreciate everyone. Tyler and Barbara from Storm. Storm was just, you know, very generous and just reaching out saying, is there anything that you guys need? Some of the other bowling companies, Brett from Motive. And again, I told Brett, I said, you know, we're people. You know, yeah, we represent different bowling companies, but we're people.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know, as a person, he said, I just don't want anything to happen to you. You know, there's still so much. And I said, Brett, I agree. You know, and I mean, I can go on and on through bowling proprietors in Minnesota to Rob here and Fagan and even the casino, everybody. So I can just tell you right now that I am just eternally grateful, and the prayers from everybody is just helping me heal through this really fast. And if I can just make it to at least the TOC for next year, that's my milestone.
Okay.
The TOC is normally later in the year. And if I can make just the TOC, then we overcame a lot.
That'd be great.
Yes, and that's what I want to do.
So, so where are you at today in the progress?
Okay.
You know, in your progression here. So take me through kind of like now you got today. You know, what does 2 weeks look for? You know, what are the goals? What are the things that you're doing to get there?
So I had a bone marrow biopsy on Thursday just to see how everything is going. Hopefully, because of how I'm progressing, there's no more cancer in my bone marrow. If there isn't, then I will still go through another round of chemotherapy just to make sure.
But there's a probability here, a high probability that the cancer is gone from your bone marrow.
From my bone marrow, yes.
Wow.
There's a chance just because of how I'm progressing and how I'm able to talk to you, and just how I feel in comparison to others that have been going through this. So they really don't have a step, you know, like you have stage 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
With leukemia, it's different. It's about progress. And
Okay.
so my bone marrow, if there's no more cancer in my bone marrow, then we move on to the next step, which would be a transplant, which would be a stem cell transplant. And we don't know when that's going to be. If it's going to be longer, they're going to keep doing chemotherapy to make sure that it stays suppressed until it's time for the transplant. And once I have the transplant, then it is 4 weeks in the hospital, just automatically, and then it's going to be other increments of weeks at a time to make sure that my body is healing. Unfortunately, I do not have a time frame, and I don't know because if there's still cancer cells in my bone marrow right now, I will have to still go through treatment until it's at absolute zero.
Okay.
So I can't have anything in my body, even if it's just one. I cannot have anything because then I'm at risk of catching it again with a new bone marrow and stuff like that.
Pardon my ignorance in the subject, but that's why I'm asking so many questions.
No worries. But I listen, this is all new to me too, and
yeah.
being in a hospital for the last 6 weeks, I definitely understand.
Yeah. So this, if you're completely, here's my main question.
Okay.
How do they know if it's really all gone? With you know what I mean? Do you do multiple scans or?
Yes.
Yeah. How does that work? Because that would be the frightening thing to me if I was going through what you were going through, is if they tell me it's all gone.
Yeah.
And really it's not gone. Like, how do you really know?
The power of medicine in 2026, they know.
They've come that far along
Yes.
that they just know.
They know because if it's not being produced in your bone marrow, then it's not going to be in your blood. That's how they know.
Okay.
And there are small little cracks and stuff that it'll go through in your bone marrow. But if it's not going, if they can't find it, they actually took a piece of my bone out to double check to make sure there's nothing in it. And if there's nothing in it, then they know, okay, then we can move on to the next process.
And the doctors right now believe there's nothing there.
They don't know yet.
Okay.
Just because my immune system is working on its own, I only need very little medications for it. They believe that the cancer cells that my body is fighting them off, the treatment and everything, which really works out in their favor because then they're saying what we're doing is working, and they're really happy about that. And so with me using me as a case study, it's for the next person who unfortunately gets diagnosed with this. They can say, we had so-and-so, he went through this many treatments.
Yeah.
This is what happened.
This data. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of data.
Okay. I don't want to keep you too long here. I guess the next question I have is this something that that everyone out there can help and do. So obviously, when we heard the news, I went and streamed a tournament the next weekend. We were going to give away a bowling ball, and then we had like 7 other people step up to give away bowling balls. Our community here stepped up in a big way, and gave money for your GoFundMe. We were able to raise money, to give to you, which was like one of the greatest things that I've ever been a part of on this network, and being able to use our influence here to do something good for a fellow brother like yourself that I'm friends with, and we've known each other for a long time. You
yes.
bowled very early in these inside bowling events I ran in St. Louis. You came out, and it just felt really good about all that, and I was really feeling for you. But, with medical bills and all that kind of stuff, the financial burden of all of this is the least important thing when it comes to life. But at the same time, it's a necessary evil. It really is a necessary evil. Financially, with your GoFundMe and things like that, is that going to be able to take care of things, or is it going to? Are you going to be paying for this for the rest of your life?
Well, that's a really, really good question. I have, based upon the insurance and everything, and the way the case study is, to be honest with you, I'm not really too sure how things are going to go right now. The doctors and everything are using health as their #1 priority.
Yes.
They're using me being cured as their #1 priority, right? And they have also told me, because I'm getting the treatment done at a university hospital where they're teaching the doctors and all the students on
That
how to do
helps.
this, that when we cross that bridge, we'll get there, right? But in the meantime, again, the one thing that I want to do is I want to be around. I want to stay around. I want to stay as healthy as I possibly can, because, like I've been telling everybody, I'm not done. I had a couple rough years on the national tour, but that's what happens. And I told myself it's going to take you a little bit to understand how good these guys are and what you can do to be better.
Yeah.
And I was okay with that, and I really was working hard this year during the summertime to change different things in my game to be able to get to this point for this to unfortunately happen. But it's not going to stop me. I've thrown a ball a couple times already, and again, through doctor's orders, don't do too much. And I said, well, what's classified as too much? So a couple games here, a couple games there, just to try to get the feel back. And but like I said, to answer that question, my sister, I left my sister in charge of the GoFundMe and everything.
Yeah, and she's crushing it, by the way.
Yeah, she is. My sister, my baby sister. So we're only 13 months apart, by the way.
Oh, wow.
And they're hoping that she can be a part of she could be a donor for me, just
Oh,
because our
nice.
DNAs, we have the same parents and everything.
Oh, great.
So we're really hoping about that. But she's been knocking it out of the park with everything that's going on.
Okay.
I really.
Well, don't hesitate to reach out here if something comes up to where you are going to need additional help in any sort of way from a financial standpoint. The troops will rally here at Inside Bowling. So do not hesitate. I know it's difficult to do that, but if something you need, phone a friend. Like, who wants to be a millionaire? We'll make it happen for you, buddy.
Mike, I appreciate that. I really do. And I've never been a person to really, hey, this is what's happening and going on. I've always found a way. And one of the therapists that I talk to in the hospital, because when you're going through something like this, they kind of say, no, we're not going to ask you if you want a therapist. We're going to give you a therapist.
Yeah.
And she had said, with what you're going through right now, people want to help. Just like how you would want to help them, they want to help you. So accept the help, accept what's going on, and let people do. And Mike, if I get into that situation, Inside Bowling and everyone else, I will personally let you know.
Please do. Please
but as
do.
of right now, we just got to try to make it through the first phase, which is no more cancer in the body.
Yep.
and then the second phase of rebuilding my immune system from the stem cell up. That's kind of the best way to put it. And when we're able to do that, then we'll be good. And like I said, I just, they can't tell me a lot because leukemia works a lot different than if somebody else has another type of cancer.
Yeah.
And it just, for leukemia, it has to be at 0, whereas other times it gets into remission. In leukemia, it's cured. There is no remission because it will come back because there's so much blood in your body and stuff like that. So.
One other one for you. So you were in the hospital for a month.
Yeah.
And you probably weren't even sure if you'd necessarily ever be able to bowl again. You hoped that you
correct.
would. Tell me what it was like when you got to step onto the lane, put your hand in the ball, and throw a shot here. What, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah. It was actually earlier this week, Tuesday.
Tuesday of this
Yeah,
week.
Tuesday of this week.
Okay.
And I said, all right, cool. I didn't lose too much. I had to completely change my fit a little bit because everything was so much smaller. But that's kind of what we do, just to kind of hold on to the ball and throw it. Took one bowling ball with me. I took 2 bowling balls with me and some shoes and just said, hey, just give me a game and let's see how we do. And it was coming back. It was coming back pretty good. I was working on some things, so of course I'm going to continue working. Even though I haven't thrown a ball in so long, I was like, I don't care. I need to work on this axis rotate. I need to work on this axis tilt. And they're like, D-Ron, you should just be glad you're throwing the ball down the lane.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I know, but if whatever, what's going to happen? And so I, got 2.5 games in, and I said, okay, that's enough. Just because when I started feeling fatigue, I was like, don't push it. And the stuff that they have attached to me for the treatment right now, we definitely don't want that to come loose. So I'm being very easy, very, very coy, and I know that I'm going to come back bigger and better and stronger than ever. I have this feeling, and I'm going to say this, and this is how we feel as professional bowlers. I feel like this is kind of the push that I needed, because when I come back, my goal is to be top 5 in the world for the next 5 years.
Wow, that's great.
That's the goal, and I think now I have such a new appreciation for my life. I have a new appreciation for the community and for bowling that I see it different. And I can't explain what it is that I see, but I see it different. And one of the things that I did was it was irking me for a long time. And when this got diagnosed, I called Simo and I said, hey, I just wanted to tell you this because I don't know if I'll be able to, right? And I told him, I said, you're one of my favorite bowlers. I've known you since you were 16, and we were bowling USA team tournaments together, and what you've done for the game. And I said, I want you to keep doing what it is that you do for the game. I don't care what people say. I don't care what people do. I said, I'm always going to be in your corner. I'm always going to root for every win that you have. I'm going to send you a text for everything that you do, every accomplishment that you have, the stuff that you do with Classic. I told him, I said, as a competitor, I'm a fellow competitor. I'm always going to want to compete against you, but I want to see nothing but the most success for you. And it's just because I understand what Simo's gone through, and everybody's
got a story.
Everybody has a story to
Yep.
tell. And so, but just for basically the last decade is what I wanted to say to him. Half the time we have situations that happen in our life that we never get a chance to tell somebody something that they wanted, or that we wanted to tell them. And I just said, you know what? I told him he was really busy doing something, but I'm like, if you can just do me a favor, and I just want to, give me a call when you get a chance, and we can just talk about this. And I said, it's not a fan thing; it's just a level of respect.
Yeah.
And if I get to a point where I unfortunately am not able to continue moving the game forward, I really hope that you'll be able to do that for me, is what I told him.
Wow, powerful.
Yeah. And he was just like, a little choked up about it. He was like, I really appreciate it. I'm like, that's it. Because, I'm going through all this treatment. I don't know what's going to happen. And but at least I know I feel better letting you know that you have all of my support for the rest of your bowling career.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, then I'm going to just try to help support you as best as I can.
Glass half full, looking forward. I'm kind of jealous of you in some ways.
Please don't be.
No, here's why.
Why?
On the glass half full side, when we all fall in love with this game, every accomplishment that we do is a new achievement for us.
Yeah.
Right? That first 200 game, that first 700 series, that, whatever it may be, even when you're younger, it's even just little steps and milestones in that. When you come back and are able to compete and get to the highest level, top 5 in the world, as you mentioned, as a goal, you now get to experience each one of those milestones again, all over again, just like when you fall in love with this game. When you bowl your first 200 game, in certified competition, or you bowl that first 300 coming back, it's going to give you these emotions are going to it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A 300 prior to this is just like, oh yeah, another 300. I love 300s, it's great, but another 300 just added up. But now you've got this dramatic experience that you're still going through. And I mean, just imagine when you host a trophy, you win. Well, even if it's a 9-pin no tap, okay? You can win a 9-pin no tap. Then you can win a local sweeper. Then you can win a semi-large amateur event. And then you can win a big amateur event. And then you can win a PBA regional. And then you get to go through all that again.
I do at a completely different respect and feel for the game.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was, like I said, I talk to Sean Rash all the time, and I said, you know what I want to do is to be able to, come back and win something else after this.
Yeah.
And then to be able to share it with other people on my experience.
Exactly.
And that's what I did with the Masters win. I traveled all over the country, and I was just talking at different events, and I wanted to let them know who I was and kind of how things were going. But now, definitely, I told him, I said, if you guys are ever doing coaching clinics, it doesn't matter where it is.
Yeah.
I definitely want to be a part, and I want to be able to help those who are going through something similar, to let them know, like, yes, does it suck? Absolutely. Am I upset? I am very upset. I am still going to be upset. I'm not going to not be upset until this is all over, because this is taking some precious time away from the national tour and titles and everything, because there's so many guys that are so good.
Of course.
They're all here bowling. I saw Austin Grammer was here.
Yeah.
And I was crossing with him when he won his title in New York, and he had a look, and I was like, bro, he's going to win. And sure enough, he shoots 299 on TV to win. And but I was upset by time. At 35, I'm still plenty of time. I have a solid 10 to 15 years out there on the national tour, especially going through what it is that I'm going through right now. And but my goals and my eyes are set so far on, now that I can beat this, which is going to be the hardest thing in my life to do, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to bowl, and I want to be able to host that trophy again for even a second major back-to-back.
Exactly.
Or
Yeah.
another title or whatever. And I want that. And because I want that, just like I want to defeat this and to keep on moving, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I can't wait, because then we can sit here and say, remember what happened? We made that happen, and we can turn one title into 3 or 4 titles in the next, after everything is over. So I am as motivated as ever to get well, to do exactly what the doctors are saying, and then to get myself in great bowling discipline shape, and then to go out there and to compete against the best bowlers in the world, some really, really good friends, and to be a part of that community again.
Yeah.
It's an amazing. You've been, obviously, doing what you're doing. The goal was to try to make holiday doubles, because and last year I didn't make it because I made the RPI, and I finished in 6th or 8th in the RPI.
Yeah.
So I told Josh, hey, I'm sorry, but we're doing this. But this is kind of the goal. If I'm not scheduled for a transplant until January, I'm going to keep myself practice up so we can at least go and hang out.
Oh, great.
But I have to get the okay and the clearance, because
of course,
stuff that I have, they may say, sorry, you can't do that, which is fine. But it's a long shot. But hey, listen, smaller things have happened, so we'll see. But if I'm not able to do that, I do apologize not being able to make it.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Well, you've always got a spot, buddy.
Yeah.
You're there every year for what I call the family reunion.
Yeah, it is
of a tournament.
Family reunion of a tournament, and I get a chance to see everybody and our friends. We literally go out there, and it's a friend Christmas kind of what we do there. We're out there for all 4 days. We go experience something different in St. Louis, and we go out and bowl, and it's great. But like I said to everybody, showing I was just kind of looking.
We hadn't even really checked the chat. I really wanted to just sit down with D-Ron and get an update that he could share with everybody in the world that's wanting to know information, and I feel like that's my job here. But yeah, I mean, everybody's pouring in with well wishes, D-Ron. Everybody in this that's coming in touch with you or has watched you compete or just seen the way you conduct yourself, and now even this interview more so just lets everybody know, what a great human being you are, and now you're going to get to be a messenger too. Yeah. You're going to get to, sometimes people are chosen for stuff like this. And you're gonna get to overcome this and go on to great things, and we all know that it's going to work out because of who you are and the way you're handling it and the way your body's responding, and it's going to be something that unfortunately you had to go through, but it could be for a greater good of mankind.
It's going to be a greater good for everyone. Like I said again, I will 100% open myself up to sharing some of my experiences with people who are, really struggling with what's going on. And I definitely like to be, I wouldn't say that shoulder to cry on, but that shoulder to lean on when it comes to how did you do it and what it is that you did. And I said, it was myself and an entire community that really got me through this. And just like I said, with friends and family that were going through things, I would be, again, one of their first supporters on whatever it is that they needed and what they would need to do. I would do my best to be able to do. And when it comes to the community itself, I can't say it enough, Mike. I can't say thank you enough. I can't say, I was talking with Carl and just kind of letting him know that I wish I was able to, support some of his tournaments, stuff that was going on.
Right.
Because if people didn't know, Dallas is the only person that I know that travels more than I do when it comes to bowling tournaments. But anything that I can do to try to support a proprietor, to try to support a live stream. I've talked with Emil a little bit, talking with yourself, Bowl TV, like anything that I can do to help spread awareness of what it is that I'm going through. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to be this big, speaker or whatever.
Right.
But I just want people to know that even though you are going through something like this, I'm not going to let it define me as a person. I'm still going to walk in here. I'm still going to be the same guy. Maybe not, like I said, feeling 100%, but I'm still going to come in here and show my support as best as I can. And with what the bowling community did, I feel like this is the least that I could have done. Even Mike was like, I wasn't expecting to see you. And again, doctors are saying, be careful with what you do. But I said, this is well worth it. Seeing everybody and watching them and supporting them is well worth it. And this tournament has such a great history.
It sure does.
My best finish is 4th, so I'll definitely take the 4th place finish.
Yeah.
And like I said, even if I'm not here bowling, as long as I can be here, like I said, talking with you, and supporting Mike and Rob in this establishment and helping them grow with what they want to do, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep doing it until they tell me, hey, you're going to have to stop. And unfortunately, like I said, that's going to happen when I do the stem cell, where no one's really going to see me for a while or hear from me for months.
But you'll keep us updated on social media.
I will try to find a way of letting you guys be updated as soon as I know. But I'm also not a person that floods my social media with everything. Typically bigger events, good events, or what it is that I want to say. But as soon as I am going through the transplant, that is when we need everything to go well. We get essentially, you get a couple chances for a transplant, but you only get one good chance for it to stick and for me to resume. But like I said, there's some titles that I want to win. There's some top 5s in the world that I want to be, and there are some people that I want to inspire. And so those are my driving forces, and I will continue to fight this as hard as I possibly can. Try to bowl a little bit more as I can and try to develop. Definitely can't do the gym, unfortunately, because of how I'm hooked up, but definitely do my walks, keep up with the protein, and keep trying to eat well, and just know that there's a bigger picture ahead. And again, I'm going to hoist, I'm going to use that, another trophy up and say, won the Masters in 2024, and then this date, we got this other title, and like I said, we're going to keep doing that. So I'm I'm very excited to see what the future is going to hold, and I'm going to let everybody know that there is going to be a future for me after all of this is over. It's going to be rough for the next year, but there's a future.
Yeah.
I'm very,
Sure.
I'm excited to look forward to it. You know, there's no downside to this at all. This is just a small little speed bump, and hopefully, like I said, some good news will happen next week when I hear that there's no more cancer in the bone marrow, and then I go from there.
All right.
So-
Well, we appreciate you sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate you for who you are. We appreciate just the friendship and everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't anticipate this today, but this kind of made my day. And it sounds like, things are as good as they possibly can be. And we're going to keep praying. And we're gonna keep being updated on what you got going on. And I'm super proud of you
Thank
for
you.
the way that you've handled everything here as well. And we're all rallying behind you. So I appreciate your time, man. Great seeing you. And I enjoyed having this conversation. We would have had the same one on the concourse, but we got to have it electronically for everybody else to eavesdrop and get the update as well.
I definitely wanted to make sure that people kind of got an update. I know the last update wasn't a very good one, and so now everybody can kind of see.
Here he is.
Here I am, and I'm here, and again, watching the New Mexico Open. Hopefully, everybody got a chance to see what was going on a little
Yeah,
bit.
well, yeah. I mean, it's qualifying. Everybody gets to see the scores. I'll recap the scores of what
Okay.
happened before we get off the
Sounds
air.
good.
But this
Okay.
was more important to all of us today, was to sit here and spend some time with you.
Thank you. So before everything gets crowded, I do know that there's you have the 1 o'clock squad.
Yep.
So I may sit around for just a sec, but if there starts being too many people,
Yeah, you got to book it.
yeah, unfortunately, I'm not gonna just walk. I'm not gonna wear a mask and just try to. At that point, it's like, okay, if you're wearing a mask, then I just need to kind of work my way. But I'll see some more people, say some more highs, and just kind of let everybody know that I'm doing well.
All right, D-Ron. Well,
but, yeah.
we appreciate you coming by, man. Definitely do appreciate
Thank you
it.
guys. Thank you again. Thank you so much for having me. Mike, thanks for doing what it is that you do. I know you've been doing it for a long time, and I'm just trying to recap of the first IB Open tournament that I bowled, and like I met you, and that was, oh my goodness,
Like 13 or 14,
something.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was doing it, and I bowled. I even bowled the one you had in Vegas.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the
Yep.
Swerve Open at the time.
Yes, that's
Columbia
the Swerve.
300.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember.
J.R. Raymond won.
Yep, I remember that. So, like I said, if anything that I can try to do to support everyone in bowling tournaments and stuff, like I love bowling, so we're gonna do that as soon as I'm able.
You love bowling. Bowling loves you, and we
Yes.
all love you, buddy.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
All right, everybody, thank you guys again. I really appreciate it, and yeah, I'll give you an update when I have one.
Cool. Thanks, D-Ron. That's D-Ron Booker, everybody. I'll be right back to recap the squad. All right, everybody. Boy, I have a difficult time really recapping and even talking about what just transpired here. For those of you that had a chance to listen to D-Ron's story and what he's been going through, I couldn't even imagine. We've had some things in this chat room talking about string pins and how hard the shot is, and finances and stuff like that. Mike and I were talking about earlier today on the stream. This has really been an interesting stream from a commentary standpoint. But to look over to my left and see D-Ron Booker here today, I did not have that on my bingo card, as I mentioned. And I hope I hope that interview gave all of you some sort of perspective on what can happen in just a drop. I mean, just a drop of a hat. I mean, he really legitimately did not know what was going on. His body was telling him something was wrong. Went to the hospital and thought he was going to drive home that day. And then 4 weeks later was able to finally leave. It was great to see D-Ron. I hope you guys really enjoyed that. So here's what I want to do. I have a responsibility here to give you an update on what's happening in this bowling tournament. And I want to do that for you. So the first thing that we can do is we can look at Game 5 standings. And let's do that now. These are standings after 5, so let's get caught up here a little bit on that. We will look at all the scores. Dallas Leong is leading at a 10-25. If I go over to Lane Talk, I can then give you a little update here on what Dallas bowled the last game. He's down on lane 9 and can still bowl 210. So Dallas is going to have a squad where he averaged over 200. Jacob White is second on the squad at 982, followed by Trey Brand at 946, Jacob Gill at 924, Kyle Duster at 914, Ryan Howard at 905, along with Will Davis. And you guys see the rest of the scores there. So Dallas looking to defend his title, bowling quite well here today. Okay, we have another squad coming up today at 1 p.m., which is in about 2 hours. 1 p.m. today will be our next squad, and we'll bring it to you right here on Inside Bowling. I'll paint a better picture of what it's looking like the cut is going to be. Rick did also send me here. I'm going to take this off the screen for just a second. Rick has been sending me some more information that we can look at here.
All right,
The
that concludes
overall.
our squad for the day. First squad for the day.
So it combines not only this squad, but it combines the other squads. So you can see it's done by plus minuses. So you see Dallas was plus 25 going into that game. So let me give you guys a projected cut number, for you here, or what the cut number is right now. So we're cutting to 24. So right now it's minus 95. Now there are some games that'll still have to be coming in for game number 6 here, but minus 95 is gives you a guide of what this cut number could be, and it could inch up. That Chris Barnes number at minus 70, I believe, is safe, and it could be below that even. But I think that number is a good spot to say is probably going to be safe in this event, maybe even below there. So that's our scoring situation there. I'm going to check up. Just look at our chat room for a second. Appreciate all the comments about D-Ron here in the chat room. Okay, that's going to do it. I'm going to sign off for now. I'll see you guys in about an hour and 45 minutes with the continuing coverage from the 2026 New Mexico Open. I want to thank our sponsors once again: Brunswick, Shamrock Foods, Visit Rio Rancho, Kegel, Tenpins More, and all of us here at Inside Bowling. So for Mike Flanagan, who joined me in the booth, and D-Ron Booker coming by, what a treat that was, being able to see D-Ron here in person and get an update on what's going on in his fight against leukemia. My name is Mike Flanagan. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon right here from Rio Rancho here in New Mexico at Tenpins More. We'll have more for you coming up at 1 o'clock here